Dr. Roger Billica. I'm an MD physician in Colorado in the United States and have a clinic, an integrative functional medicine clinic here in Fort Collins. And in the 1990s, I was the chief of medical operations for the NASA space program. So I have background in aerospace medicine, space medicine, family medicine, and now I'm bringing all that together into my current clinical practice. So I want to just point out that during the decade of the 90s, I was in the job with the NASA space program as the chief of medical operations. So during that time and looking at all the healthcare aspects of spaceflight and removing humans from the Earth's geomagnetic sphere, and to look at the frequencies of the Earth and the effect on the human body and what happens when you leave it or come back. So I was awakened to this whole world of the impact of frequencies and electromagnetic fields. And of course, we were looking at solar radiation. So I was immersed amongst many other topics in this area of frequency in the human body. And it caused me to understand that, and this is an obvious thing, but we don't really think of it a whole lot in Western medicine, because Western medicine is very focused on the biochemical aspects, the biochemistry effects, and the medicines and measuring chemistry and things like this. We tend to forget that the human body also is electromagnetic in how it functions. And that's why we can do EKGs and EEGs and MRI, magnetic resonance imaging scans, and these sorts of things. And I would say in the past at least 2 decades, if not longer, there has really been an emergence in medicine of the understanding and application of the idea that magnetic frequencies, electromagnetic fields, frequency specific things can have a dramatic effect on the function and the health and the vitality of the human body. So your Sleepergize system is right in line with this whole emerging field of frequency therapies. And in terms of my understanding of how your particular device works, which is very well, by the way, I would say that in the research we did together and my observations, I think it's at least doing 2 primary things. One, it seems to open up or enhance or strengthen the flow of energy along the spine. So from the brain to the brain stem through the spine, we see where there are problems or blocks or difficulties with that energy and communication. We see that with the Sleepergize system, it tends to open that up and create a more natural energy flow, communication flow along the spine. Then I also think that the frequencies you've chosen, and what's unique about it is it's a harmonic, it's a chord. It's not just a single frequency. It's as I understand it, you might need to correct me, it's a combination of frequencies which together create this harmonic that helps the brain and the nervous system achieve these restoration of the deep sleep cycles where the body can repair and restore and recover during nighttime. And I think it's fantastic. At least I would say 4 years, somewhere in that range. Well, personally, I have found that I get a deeper, more restful sleep when I use it. It's like crawling into this nice, snuggly cocoon that just helps you sleep. I was in the pattern of many people. I mean, as you know, I'm a practicing clinical physician, and one of the most common complaints that people come to the doctors with is they're not sleeping well. They're tired and they're not sleeping well. It's a difficult problem to deal with. There's many challenges associated with it. And what I have personally found, what I was experiencing, I would fall asleep exhausted, but then I would wake up in the middle of the night wide awake and could not go back to sleep. And then the rest of the night was a struggle to get some sleep. And with the Sleepergize, I was sleeping throughout the night, even if I had to get up and go to the bathroom, which occasionally occurs. Instead of then lying awake, I would go right back to sleep very quickly. In fact, sometimes the next morning I had to sit there and go, did I get up last night? And so with that deeper sleep, I wasn't sleeping more necessarily. I wasn't in bed more hours, but the hours that I got were more productive in terms of what you need to do while you're sleeping. So I woke up feeling awake and alert and ready to go and more rested. So it's been profound. And so I've got everyone in my family using it, and I frequently recommend it to patients. I've gotten to the point in my life where the term to pull an all-nighter, in college that used to mean staying up all night to study, but now at this point in my life, pulling an all-nighter means I sleep through the night without having to get up. And so I have more all-nighters with the Sleepergize. I don't know if I would consider myself an expert in that, but what I do know is that achieving that stage of sleep and spending time there is absolutely critical to someone's health, to their brain function, their cognition, to get their body in that deep state. That's where the restoration, that's where the repair, that's where the recovery occurs. And it is so, so critical. What impressed me with the material that you've sent me is how you've been able to take individuals who have a very disrupted sleep pattern and spend very little time in the deep sleep. You can restore that pattern for them back to a youthful, healthy, productive sleep pattern. And I think the implications for as we get older, maintaining brain function, repairing cognition, helping people with dementia or Alzheimer's, because we know that's a specific problem for those sorts of patients, as well as all the people who spend all day walking around in a state of adrenal stress because they did not recover during their sleep the night before. So just the effect on brain and cognition and energy and hormone balance and everything is profound. And I don't think there's any question about the critical importance of this sort of good night's sleep. So it's a fantastic tool. I think the best way to describe what we experience with our patients is, and we still do this now, but back when we were doing some of the early studies and testing, we would basically loan the unit to the patients to do the trial so they could try it out and give us feedback and fill out our questionnaires and things like that. And the most noticeable effect with the patients is that they would not give it back. That they would say, you don't get this back, and you had to figure out how to handle that because we just had a few trial units that you were letting people try, and so you had to start producing more units because the patients found it so profound on their sleep, their health, their effect that they declined to return the loaner units and wanted to keep them. So I think that speaks for the experience the patients have. Very similar sorts of things that I've already described personally. Several who basically claim that this has saved their lives. That might be a bit dramatic, but certainly dramatically altered and changed their lives. We had patients who were fortunate to get 2 hours of sleep a night, and I was seeing them on a regular basis, trying to keep them going. As I think of those patients, I haven't seen them back now in a year or two. Once they got to Sleepergize and started sleeping all night, most of their other issues went away, and I occasionally get a note or a card or something from them, but it's changed their lives in a way that has allowed them to return to full function. So it's for those types of people, this can be a lifesaver.